Chosen one, lock your attention on this message right now. That restless feeling you cannot shake, the one telling you that something is about to shift, do not dismiss it. The enemy is working overtime in this exact moment for one reason and one reason only. He knows what is written about you in the next 3 days. It all comes into alignment this week. The confusion, the waiting, the warfare that has been pressing against your chest like a hand refusing to let you breathe. It ends here. But understand this, because this is the part most people miss. It is not ending because of chance. It is ending because of every single thing you have done to get to this moment. Think back to that moment this week when you almost made a decision from a place of desperation. Maybe you almost called someone you should not have called. Maybe you almost agreed to something that felt wrong in your spirit, but you were so tired of waiting that it looked like relief. You stopped. You pulled back. You held the line. You did not know it then, but that restraint was a decree. That one act of discipline in your most exhausted moment was the thing that positioned you for what is about to unfold in the next 72 hours. You did not ruin your timeline. You protected it. You did not find this recording by accident. The algorithm did not bring you here. The Holy Spirit did. This is a divine appointment written before the foundations of the earth were laid, and you are standing at a threshold that will determine what the next 12 months of your life look like. Stay until the very last second of this message. In the next few minutes, I'm going to hand you the exact decree that cancels every assignment the enemy has sent against your momentum in this season. I'm going to walk you through the 3 days ahead so you understand precisely what is being decided and why the decisions you make right now carry a weight that echoes 12 months into your future. And at the end, I'm going to give you the declaration that seals this countdown and locks in the harvest that has already been prepared for you. Do not click away. Your future self is not asking you to stay. They are begging you. Because if you leave before the end of this message, you risk walking back into a cycle that God has already written a conclusion to. I know what the last 72 hours have felt like. The atmosphere has not just been heavy, it has been pressurized. Like something massive is being compressed right before it is released. Maybe you were lying in bed last night, staring at the ceiling, replaying the last several months, wondering if you have made too many mistakes to recover from. Or maybe you were going through the motions of your day this week, eating, working, speaking to people, but on the inside you felt completely hollow, like you were watching your own life from behind glass. You feel like you are suspended in the final seconds before something either collapses or breaks through. And in that suspension, the enemy has been whispering a very specific lie. Listen carefully to what has been circling in your thoughts. He is telling you that these 3 days do not matter for you, that the window has already passed. He is replaying that moment from last month when you made the wrong choice. That moment when you reacted instead of resting. That moment when you let fear speak louder than faith. The accuser is using that single moment as evidence that your next 12 months have already been forfeited. But I need you to hear what the scripture actually says about this moment. Deuteronomy 33 says, "The Lord your God will restore your fortunes and have compassion on you, and he will gather you again from all the nations where he scattered you." Listen to that promise. He will restore. He will gather. Not after you perform perfectly. Not after you prove you have earned it back. The restoration is the decree and it is already signed. The enemy wants you to believe that the countdown running in these 3 days is a countdown to your disqualification. But that is a deception. This is not a countdown to your failure. This is a countdown to your realignment. The pressure you feel right now is not the weight of consequence closing in on you. It is the weight of a promise preparing to land. It is the tension of a season that has held itself back long enough, finally reaching the moment of release. You think the mistakes of the last 12 months have set you back. You think the silence, the missteps, the moments of weakness have cost you the next chapter. But let me reframe your reality right now. Every single one of those moments was shaping you for the precision this next season requires. You are not starting over. You are not being put back at the beginning. You are standing at the finish line of the hardest preparation of your life. And these 3 days are not your final exam. They are your graduation. Because what's happening right now isn't random. These 3 days are not just a turn of a calendar page or the closing of another chapter you didn't finish. something is being decided in the spirit right now about your life, about your next season, about whether what God placed inside you finally gets the conditions it needs to emerge. And if you've been feeling it, that strange mixture of pressure and anticipation, like something is about to either break through or break down, that feeling is not anxiety. That's consecration. That's God drawing a line in the sand of your soul, demarcating the old from the new, the stagnant from the flowing, the dim light of mere existence from the blazing dawn of purpose. It's a sacred demarcation, a spiritual sundering that heralds a new era. Some messages don't just inform, they activate. If something stirred deep in your spirit just now, a resonant chord struck within your very being, you may be ready to receive the Chosen One's blueprint. This isn't just a book, it's a sacred map, a divinely etched revelation that unveils the 8 divine patterns intricately woven into the fabric of your calling, the crucible of your suffering, and the glorious tapestry of your destiny. It's a profound unveiling designed to illuminate the hidden architecture of your spiritual journey. And because we understand that truth needs to be absorbed, not just read, it also comes with the full audiobook, so you can let its wisdom seep into your spirit during prayer, while you embrace restorative rest, or in those hushed, intimate moments, communing with God. And for those who carry the weighty yet exhilarating responsibility of speaking His truth, those who are called to carry a prophetic assignment, you'll also receive Activating Your Prophet Mantle, a powerful bonus ebook, a spiritual accelerant for your sacred task. The link to this transformative resource is nestled in the first pinned comment, but like a fleeting comet, it's only available for a limited time, a celestial window of opportunity. Now let's go deeper, because the profound truth is that most people will hear what I just said, nod their heads in agreement, and feel a transient warmth move through their chest, a fleeting spark of recognition. And then they will simply continue living their lives precisely as before. This isn't a testament to their lack of belief, not truly. It's because there is something they haven't yet named, a hidden current beneath the placid surface of their daily lives, a truth that no amount of motivational rhetoric has ever managed to reach or dislodge. You've attended church services, meticulously counting them as acts of faith. You've undertaken fasts, seeking divine intervention through sacrifice. You've uttered declarations, words like seeds cast into the wind, hoping for a miraculous harvest. You've even diligently written the vision, striving to make it undeniably plain, a clear roadmap before your eyes. And still, despite all these earnest efforts, there remains a chasm, a palpable gap between the radiant person you know, deep within your soul, you are destined to be, and the person who actually awakens each morning, a stranger in their own skin. The reason most people never manage to bridge this gap isn't a deficit of faith. It's far more insidious. They have been diligently constructing a magnificent future, a shimmering edifice of their dreams, without ever having granted themselves the fundamental permission to actually inhabit it, to believe it is truly theirs. They are building castles in the air, without ever stepping into them. Consider Moses, standing at the precipice of the Red Sea. Behind him, the relentless, suffocating march of the Egyptian army, a tide of impending doom. Before him, the impassable, churning expanse of the sea, a liquid wall of the impossible. All around him, the cacophony of 2 million terrified souls, their collective screams, their palpable fear, pressing down on his shoulders like an unbearable physical weight. He had already experienced the awe-inspiring revelation of the burning bush. He had already borne witness to the devastating power of the plagues, each one a testament to divine might. He had already observed the unmistakable hand of God intervening in ways that shattered every conceivable natural law. And yet, in that moment of ultimate crisis, he stood frozen, his gaze turned heavenward, crying out in desperation. It was then that God uttered words that sliced through the chaos, words that halted everything. "Why are you crying out to me? Move." This was not a reprimand, not a scolding. It was a profound revelation, a paradigm shift. God was communicating a truth of immense power, everything you have been waiting for, Every element you believed was missing has already been placed within your grasp. The authority you sought is already vested in your hand. The very staff you wield is already raised, poised for action. The miracle you envision is not some distant event waiting to unfold before you. It is waiting on you, waiting for you to cease your pleas and begin to move, to act, to manifest. And what is about to unfold will only make that confrontation more visceral, more undeniable. Because the perceived distance between you and your breakthrough is not nearly as vast as your mind has convinced you it is. But there is a subtle yet persistent pattern in your behavior, a habitual response that has been artificially widening that gap, making the journey seem impossibly long. Here is a truth that is rarely spoken aloud, a stark reality that often remains hidden in the shadows. So many individuals chosen for extraordinary purposes carry an invisible burden, a spiritual weight that was never meant to be theirs to bear. You have been the reluctant custodian of the unresolved grief of others, the silent witness to their unhealed wounds. You have absorbed the crushing disappointment of those who projected their own unfulfilled aspirations, their own shattered dreams, onto the canvas of your life. You have found yourself navigating the turbulent waters of emotional instability, managing the volatile inner landscapes of environments and people that were meant to be wellsprings of support, but instead became sources of profound exhaustion. And somewhere along this arduous path, in the crucible of bearing so much, you began to conflate endurance with divine purpose. You started to mistake mere survival for your true calling. You convinced yourself that because you possessed the strength to carry these immense loads, that strength itself was proof that you were divinely ordained to do so. But let this truth resonate deeply. Strength was never intended to be a cage. God did not forge your resilience to become an eternal support system for everyone else's brokenness, allowing them to remain fractured at your personal expense. The prophet Elijah, a towering figure of faith, intimately understood this principle. Following arguably the most spectacular public display of divine power in his lifetime, fire descending from heaven, the prophets of Baal utterly vanquished, an entire nation left breathless and shaken. He found himself utterly collapsed beneath a solitary juniper tree, his spirit so depleted that he petitioned God to let him die. This was not an act of weakness. It was the cry of a spirit that had been profoundly drained, a soul that had been carrying the immense spiritual weight of an entire nation, functioning on fumes, running on empty. And in that moment of utter prostration, God did not chastise him. He did not pile on another impossible assignment. Instead, he sent an angel, a divine messenger whose words were not of command but of profound care. Eat, rest. The journey is too great for you in the way you have been traveling it. This was God's unmistakable message, a divine recalibration. The method you have been employing, the way you have been undertaking this monumental task, must fundamentally change before you can possibly arrive at the destination I have ordained for you. So allow me to pose a question that demands your honest introspection. When was the last time you truly allowed yourself to rest? Not a rest born of exhaustion, a forced cessation of activity, but a rest rooted in genuine trust, a trust that God could seamlessly hold the intricate workings of your life together, even in the quiet absence of your constant, vigilant effort. Because there exists a profound yet often overlooked distinction between true faith and desperate striving. And tragically, far too many have been mislabeling their soul-crushing exhaustion as unwavering devotion. This pattern must cease, and it must find its end within these pivotal 3 days. But here's where the revelation dives even deeper, where the transformation truly begins to take root. Stay with me, for this is the very element that has the power to reframe everything you thought you understood. You have earnestly prayed for open doors, for pathways to manifest your divine potential. Yet, unbeknownst to you, there are deeply ingrained agreements, silent pacts you've made with yourself and with the narrative of your life that are subtly, yet persistently, keeping those very doors firmly shut. These are not elaborate contracts signed in darkness with the adversary, nor are they arcane generational curses that necessitate marathon deliverance sessions. They are far simpler, yet profoundly potent agreements. Consider the silent pact you forged the very first time someone declared you were too much, and in response you instinctively, perhaps unconsciously, contracted yourself, making yourself smaller to fit their limited perception. Reflect on the agreement solidified when your initial business venture faltered, the whisper that perhaps you were simply not built for that. A quiet resignation to perceived inadequacy. Remember the agreement solidified when a significant relationship ended, the painful conclusion that something about me causes people to leave, a self-condemning narrative. These seemingly minor agreements have, over time, become the very lenses through which you perceive reality. And consequently, every opportunity that arises, every pivotal conversation, every potentially open door has been filtered through these distorted lenses. And the lenses, my friends, have been perpetuating a profound deception. Recall the epic narrative of Jacob wrestling with God throughout an entire night. The scripture presents a peculiar detail, a seeming paradox. It states that God couldn't overpower him. Now, from a theological standpoint, we understand God's omnipotence, his absolute sovereignty. But the power of this story lies not in challenging divine might, but in revealing a crucial spiritual principle. God will not forcibly extract anything from you that you are consciously choosing to hold on to. He will wrestle with you, yes, he will remain present in the arena of your struggle. He will never abandon the process of your transformation. But he will not violently rip from your clenched hands that which you are determined to grip. Jacob had to reach that profound, self-aware moment where he declared, "I will not let go unless you bless me." He shifted from wrestling with the intent to win to wrestling with the profound desire to receive. And it was precisely this shift, this radical reorientation of his purpose within the struggle, that heralded the arrival of the blessing. It was then that his name was irrevocably changed. It was then that his very identity was divinely rewritten. Coming up, we will explore the singular element that eludes most people's understanding, an element that has been strategically concealed within the very attributes they have long identified as their greatest weakness. Because here lies a foundational pattern of God's divine methodology, a truth that organized religion often fails to articulate with clarity. He does not summon the perfectly polished. He does not call forth those meticulously prepared according to the world's limited definitions of readiness. Instead, he calls those who have been broken precisely and exquisitely into the exact form and shape required for their unique assignment. David's protracted years spent fleeing from Saul were not merely a deviation from his destined path to the throne. They constituted the essential curriculum for it. Every desolate cave became a classroom for warfare. Every instance of betrayal served to meticulously calibrate his capacity for compassion. Every prolonged period of isolation served to deepen his profound intimacy with God. The wilderness was not a waiting room for his destiny. It was his highly specialized training ground. And if your life has recently felt like a vast, bewildering wilderness, if it has been characterized by a pervasive sense of confusion, by agonizing delays, by the disheartening perception that everyone else is advancing while you remain steadfastly rooted in place, then understand this with absolute certainty. What you are currently standing in is not divine punishment. What you are standing in is preparation, so specific, so surgically precise, so overwhelmingly intentional that only the divine architect of the cosmos could have conceived and orchestrated it. And this realization naturally leads to a profound insight that tragically eludes the vast majority. They dedicate years to the singular pursuit of escaping the process, entirely missing the point that the process is the point. They fervently pray for the flames to extinguish when the fire itself is the very element commissioned to incinerate that which has no place in the upcoming season of their lives. Consider Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who were deliberately cast into a furnace heated 7 times beyond its normal capacity. And when they emerged, a miracle unfolded. Not a single hair was singed, not one thread of their garments was scorched, not even the faintest aroma of smoke clung to their clothing. But there was a 4th man present in that fiery crucible. And here is the revelation that the ancient text omits but the indwelling Spirit unfailingly illuminates. The only things the fire consumed were the ropes. The only things the intense heat incinerated were the very bindings that had held them captive. They entered the furnace as prisoners, bound and helpless, and they emerged as men gloriously free. And the king who had ordered their demise was so profoundly transformed by this divine spectacle that he became the very instrument through which the magnificent glory of their God was declared to every corner of the known world. Your fire is not designed for your destruction. Your fire is precisely calibrated for your release. The ropes, the bindings that have held you captive have been steadily burning away this entire time. But I must now challenge you with a truth that you may not yet be fully prepared to receive, for we have entered a zone of profound confrontation, and it would be an act of profound dishonesty to escort you this far on this spiritual journey and then fall short of delivering this essential message. The true underlying reason why so many chosen individuals hesitate to fully step into their next season of purpose is not rooted in the machinations of the enemy. It is not a consequence of their past experiences or the wounds inflicted by others. The core reason is far more intimate, far more insidious. They have developed a subtle yet powerful addiction to their own story of struggle. This is not born from a love of suffering itself. Rather, suffering has, over time, become their primary identity. The mantle of chosen has become a badge worn for external validation, a title recited for affirmation, rather than a sacred calling, lived out in humble, unwavering obedience. There exists within the subconscious recesses of their being a deep-seated terror, not of failure, but of the luminous brilliance of success. Not of rejection, but of being fully, authentically seen in the magnificent scope of their divine purpose. Because within this internal conflict lies a subtle calculation. If they dare to step forward boldly and it doesn't yield the desired outcome, they risk losing the cherished dream itself. However, if they consistently refrain from taking that decisive step forward, they retain the comforting illusion that the dream remains perpetually possible, an ever-present yet never realized potential. And this persistent belief, this ethereal hope, though it may reside in the deepest, most hidden chambers of your heart, though it has never been exposed to the light of day, this belief has paradoxically become a far more comfortable sanctuary than the exhilarating yet inherently risky prospect of the genuine article. And here lies the unexpected revolutionary truth that has the power to completely reframe every single facet of what we've just explored. God is not patiently waiting for you to achieve a state of perfect readiness. He is, with unwavering anticipation, awaiting your willingness. Readiness, my dear friends, is a state that you can manufacture, an illusion you can construct. Willingness, however, is a profound act of surrender, a deep-seated yielding of your will to the divine. Moses was demonstrably not ready. He possessed a debilitating speech impediment and a murder charge hanging over his head. Gideon was hardly ready. He was cowering in a winepress, self-identifying as the absolute least of his entire family clan. Esther was not in a position of readiness. She was a young woman navigating the treacherous corridors of a palace, a structure fundamentally designed to preclude her very survival. None of them, by worldly standards, were ready. Yet, every single one of them was willing. Willing when pushed beyond their comfort zones, willing when confronted with a divine moment that dwarfed their excuses and demanded their participation. These 3 days represent your divine moment, not because the turning of a calendar page has arbitrarily imbued them with sacred significance, but because God Himself is actively, intentionally, and profoundly making them sacred. And what you choose to do with this profound moment, how you conscientiously steward these precious hours, what you consciously decide to release from your grasp, what you courageously decide to step toward, that decision will reverberate through the entirety of the next 12 months of your life in ways you cannot yet perceive, but will undeniably, unequivocally feel. So, before you surrender to sleep tonight, I implore you to place your hand upon your heart, feel its steady rhythm, the life force pulsing within you, and then declare these words aloud, with every fiber of your being resonating with sincere conviction, for declarations made with heartfelt sincerity possess the power to move the very heart of heaven. I release every agreement I ever made with limitation. I release the debilitating labels that people who could never truly see what God sees within me have placed upon me. I release the overwhelming grief that was never mine to carry, and I dismantle the very identity I painstakingly constructed around the survival of pain. I am not defined by my struggle. I am not defined by my delay. I am not the unfortunate sum of what was done to me or what was ruthlessly taken from me. I am the one whom God sovereignly chose before the very foundation of the world was laid. I am the one whom the most ferocious fire could not consume. I am the one for whom the desolate wilderness was an intricate divine preparation. I receive my next season with open, receptive hands and a completely surrendered will. I step forward, not because I have achieved a manufactured state of readiness, but because I am profoundly willing. My breakthrough is not a future event that is coming. It is an existing reality that is already here. And I walk into these 3 days with the immutable, unshakable, full weight of heaven's authority and power propelling every single step I take. I am chosen, I am divinely prepared, and I am moving forward. If this message resonated deeply within your spirit, confirming the whispers and intuitions you've already held, please share it with another soul who finds themselves standing at the precipice of their own pivotal moment, yet lacks the vocabulary to articulate the profound emotions stirring within them. Leave a comment below and share what shifts, what profound transformations God is orchestrating in your life right now, because your testimony serves as invaluable permission for someone else's healing and breakthrough. And if you feel a deep calling to delve even further into the sacred truths we've explored today, the link to unlock deeper understanding and guidance is waiting patiently for you in the first pinned comment. Do not let this powerful moment pass without taking intentional, purposeful action.